To understand Louis Althusser's ideology and ideological state apparatuses, we need to explore his unique perspective on how power and control operate in modern society. Althusser was a mid-20th century French Marxist philosopher who redefined how we think about ideology. Unlike traditional Marxists, who focus primarily on economic exploitation, Althusser turned his attention to the less visible mechanisms of power that shape how people see and relate to the world. For Althusser, ideology is not just propaganda or false consciousness. Instead, it's a deeper framework that shapes how we understand our place in society. He famously described ideology as the imaginary relationship of individuals to their real conditions of existence. In other words, ideology provides the stories and assumptions through which we interpret the world, often in ways that obscure the underlying realities of power and inequality. Take the concept of meritocracy as an example. It tells us that anyone who works hard can succeed, which can mask structural inequalities like class, race, or gender that limit opportunities for many. Althusser identifies two key tools that states use to maintain control: repressive state apparatuses, RSAs, and ideological state apparatuses, ISAs. RSAs are institutions like the police, military, and legal system, which enforce power through force or coercion. For example, when protests are suppressed with tear gas or arrests, that's the RSA at work. However, Althusser places greater emphasis on ISAs, such as schools, religions, families, media, and cultural institutions. These operate not through force, but by shaping our beliefs, values, and behavior, so we follow the system willingly. Consider the education system. While it appears neutral, teaching skills and knowledge, it also socializes students into roles that maintain the status quo. Students are taught to respect authority, follow schedules, and internalize competition, subtly preparing them for their place in the labor market. This process is not necessarily a deliberate conspiracy by individuals, but rather a function of the system reproducing itself. One of Althusser's most important concepts is interpellation. This is the process by which ideology hails individuals, turning them into subjects within its framework. Imagine walking down the street and hearing someone shout, "Hey, you!" Instinctively, you turn around, recognizing yourself as the one being addressed. Similarly, ideology calls us into specific roles, whether as workers, consumers, or citizens, and we respond, often without even realizing it. For example, advertisements hail us as consumers, framing our desires and identities in relation to products. When a luxury car ad says, "You deserve the best," it addresses you directly, creating a connection between your self-worth and their product. So why does this matter? Althusser helps us see how power operates not just through laws or physical force, but through consent. Ideology is so pervasive that we often don't recognize it as a form of control. It shapes how we see ourselves and the world, making the system structures seem natural and inevitable. For instance, media coverage of labor strikes often emphasizes the inconvenience to consumers rather than the workers' grievances, subtly reinforcing the idea that economic stability matters more than addressing inequality. Social media platforms provide a modern example of ISAs in action. They hail us as users, encouraging us to express ourselves while subtly directing our behaviors through algorithms and monetizing our attention. These platforms often reinforce individualism and consumerism, framing our self-worth in terms of likes, followers, or purchases. Can we ever escape ideology? Althusser himself was skeptical. He argued that ideology is so deeply embedded in our lives that there's no outside from which to critique it. However, recognizing these mechanisms is a crucial first step. For example, when workers organize to challenge unfair conditions, or when activists expose biased media narratives, they disrupt the ideological framework, creating cracks in the system. Ultimately, Althusser's ideology and ideological state apparatuses challenges us to rethink how power and consent function in society. It reveals the invisible forces that shape our lives and invites us to question the roles we've been assigned. While we may never fully escape ideology, understanding it can help us resist its grip and imagine new ways of being. What do you think? Have you noticed these dynamics in your own life? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into philosophy and society. Thanks for watching.